So,
Are we
hello,
ready?
dispatchers. Glad you've stuck around. Um, have a few things here. Um, Also, a new feature for the Excel schedule that we'll go over shortly, but let's say we're ready to go.
Yay. Okay. So to start, I'm just gonna go over some of the different tasks for AM, mid, and PM because with new permanents coming up, you may be used to doing AMs and get a PM this semester. So just a quick run through of what each shift is doing. So for the AM specific, this doesn't include the dispatch tasks that you should be doing for any shift. This is just like the specific ones. So AM dispatcher is responsible for assigning all the vans for the day, both on the paper DA sheet and on putting it on the website as well. They should be checking the run sheet and the dispatch log before assigning all the vans just to make sure you're not assigning yarded or short routed vans. Um, they should type all driver names and vans onto the schedules, prepare the defect sheets for the day, enter all AVS and field trip defect sheets into the online run sheet. Important things to note when you're entering them, make sure you're selecting the date on the website that corresponds with the defect sheet. When you first pull up the um, edit run sheet page, it gives you today's date, but most of the time we will be entering for the day before for all of AVS, and field trip can get wonky sometimes. So it's always important to just check the date on the defect sheet to make sure you're putting it in the right spot. If you ever forget to do that and you're entering it for the wrong day, just go to the proper day. You can't like undo it for the day of, but the following dispatcher, when they put in the info, it'll like override it. But there is some wonky stuff I think that happens with that. So just be mindful that you're putting it in the right date, if you can. And then also for the Monday dispatcher, they will have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday defect sheets to go through. So that is especially important to check the dates on because that's a wide range. And lastly, um, a lot of field trip clipboards, the drivers will keep the defect sheets on the clipboards and hang them back up in case there's another field trip later that day for the next driver to use, and then they end up hanging out there. So when you're doing defect sheets, just make sure you check the clipboard wall for all FT and AVS vehicles and get all of them before you enter them. And then once you've entered them all, um, check the paper run sheet doesn't have any info that doesn't correspond, and update the online run sheet, and then print the run sheet and add it to the binder. And then for the mid dispatch tasks, when you come in, check that all the schedules are dated correctly and that opens are still accurately marked. Um, Take all AVS and field trip defect sheets from the previous day. So pretty much what the AM dispatcher entered, they staple it, put it in that drawer. You take those out, go through each of them, and thoroughly check for any drivers who did not complete their circle check and or initial it, and email AVS and field trip if so. Only include the field trip supervisors for field trip related defect sheets. And then also check for any new damage that might be noted, and let the AVS or field trip people know if you find anything. And lastly, check that the run sheet is up to date with any new changes. And for the PM dispatchers, you guys are responsible for checking that any vans not in use are fueled and parked. Um, Print next day's DA sheet. And for the fuel and parking one, that goes through your entire shift because when you leave at 6, just verify that all the vans that should be parked are properly parked. We have a system for that. You guys check. The Eve driver should be checking, and the Eve RO should be the like last round of checking. Ideally, everyone's fueling and parking properly, but it's just good habit to make sure um, it's happening so no vans get left unlocked overnight, and you are like the first round of that. Um, and then print the next day's DA sheet, print new passenger list for the RO binder, check that the run sheet is up to date with any new changes, both online and on paper. And for the Thursday PM dispatchers, you guys will be copying the new schedules for the coming week. So for Excel, there's going to be a folder that says permanent schedules. You'd go into that folder, select all of them, make a copy and put it in the like normal folder that we use. And then for each One, you would go in and update the date on the spreadsheet, which I think is on the passenger list tab. And then also,
Yes.
yeah. And then also rename the file to have the correct date and day um, on it. And also, when you do this, this one's super important. You should be checking opens for every single day for that week and entering them for the week to make sure that we're not accidentally scheduling rides on shifts that are not open. That one's really important. I know it can be tedious, but yeah, very important. And that is all for those.
And regarding the copying schedules on Excel, there will hopefully someday be a video that I create of how to do that. But for now, I will either make sure that I'm present or available in some way to give you instruction how to do that. If that video is not there, and you do have the Thursday PM dispatch. But
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. Can I say something else? Just generally speaking, for anyone that gets assigned a shift that they're not familiar with, whether that be the Thursday PM or like whatever AM mid or PM, if you're concerned about not knowing the tasks or anything, let us know. We can either answer questions you have or we can try to be present for your first shift there so that it can go smoothly. Um, we know it's a transition and it's also been a minute since a lot of you have done dispatching stuff. So let us know if you want more support. We can help out with that. And that's all.
yay. Where was, oh, okay. So as mentioned before, we do have that new system for returning schedules. For you on the dispatcher end, there is a binder for filing these schedules at the AVS desk. Essentially, just place any schedule you receive in the correct day and sort by shift. So essentially AM1, AM2, AM3, then mid 1, 2, and so on and so forth. Um, if you do print duplicates accidentally, or if you need to print a second one for whatever reason, just make sure it does get filed back in the back of the binder somewhere and put your initials on it, just so we know who put it in there. And if we need to check back, we can. Um, since this is going to be new and a lot of people are just coming back now, and we do have some more trainees coming through, please just remind drivers about this policy and make sure that they do return it. Um, we do want to make sure this goes as smoothly as possible, and as long as you guys know what's up, should be able to spread that knowledge to all of the drivers, and hopefully there will be no hiccups at all within the next couple weeks, and it'll be a nice new system that works beautifully, I hope.
I think
Um,
I think I'm feeling it. Oh, sorry.
um, no, that's good. All right, so I mentioned Excel schedule updates. First one is I have added back the dispatch sheet. I did get rid of it before the semester last year, or last, yeah, 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 before this fall semester last year. And it was originally in the summer version, and I didn't think it would actually be necessary. But it turns out it would be pretty useful to keep this. It's not going to be the same as it was previously. Before, it was going to be something where if there is a dispatch ride, you copy it over to this just so that you have a nice, easy list of everything there. That's not really what it is anymore. It's now in its sort of extenuating circumstance sheet. So, for example, if there are dispatch rides or a dispatch ride that you have scheduled, but there's no way to put it on a schedule. So, for example, maybe a ride was confirmed sometime with a previous dispatcher and there was some mix up and it never actually got scheduled. And now that day has come and all ride slots at the time that they did actually schedule are unavailable. In that case, you would put it on this. This allows you to enter any time. It understands um, that it can really just be at any point. So this is a pretty like powerful tool for entering rides. You can have as many rides at a specific time as possible. Not that you ever should, but if that ever did happen and there was nowhere else to put it on schedules, you could do it here. Um, you don't really need to. With this, there is a column for it on the slot summary page that does highlight which times have a dispatch ride. So it does still put them with the slot summary and everything else you'll be looking at. So it's a relatively effective tool for keeping things highlighted. We do also include like passenger infractions on this, specifically no-show lateness and van lateness. In this case, a resulting late sort of thing or no can do is kind of irrelevant for this schedule, so we don't include those. There is a cancellations chart for this one. So if there is a dispatch ride scheduled here, and of course it can't go on any other schedule because there simply isn't a slot for it, you can log that the ride was canceled here if it does get canceled. Um, in any case, if there is coverage for that ride, please enter the driver, the van, and any comments you have in the coverage section. Um, but yeah, that should be everything we need to know about this. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. It is colored quite a bit differently to help distinguish it from the actual schedules. I'm not a huge fan of the colors, but they were just the simplest ones I could find, and I think it gets the job done. Um, so, unless there are any questions, we can move on to the next update here. Um, Additions. So, back in the day, I'm sure some of you may remember on the paper schedule, if you did an addition, the most popular method was to just circle the ride time. And then once that addition was given to a driver, you cross it out, or you just like put it on a sticky note. There is now an online equivalent to that. Essentially, the opens column that allowed you to select open ride slots has now just been renamed to flag, and you can now use that to flag a slot as open, which does the exact same as it has been doing, or addition. If you do it as addition, the ride will be highlighted in a sort of orange to distinguish it from the rest. And if there is a ride there associated with that addition flag, it'll then appear on the slot summary. Note that if there isn't a ride scheduled there, it won't show up on the slot summary. It does rely on there actually being a ride there for it to recognize that, oh, okay, I should put this on the slot summary as well. Um, we'll see how this works, see if there's any suggestions. I would say that all of you should use this feature if you can, if you're not like writing it down on a sticky note or something when you get an addition or any ride change. Um, it just does help you keep an eye on things, what's going on, and only after the driver gets it, you can just select the addition flag, just hit delete. It'll go away like nothing ever happened. But yeah, this is hopefully going to be very useful, keep things more organized. Yeah, I'll update it as we need to, but that should be like these two features should hopefully be the last major changes that the Excel schedule gets outside of anything smaller or format related. So, if you have any feedback, please let me know.
Okay. And next up, just a review of parking from a dispatcher perspective. As dispatchers, you are responsible for making sure our vans are parked properly. So making sure drivers are parking far forward on the east curb and keeping the vans close. As we just went over in the other meeting, buses need to park there, and they are not permitted to park along the fence of the construction zone. So we got a small space to work with and a lot of vehicles, and you may have to let a driver know that they need to move their van if it's not parked in a way that works with the buses. Just keep an eye on that, and also making sure that there are no more than 3 vans in the AVS box until after 6 p.m. Or on occasion, I have seen people, there'd be 1 van in the box and it would be on the outer side of it. So also just keep track of making sure the vans parked in the box are parked properly and that there are no more than 3 of them. I know it can be awkward to go up to a driver and ask them to move it, but they should be in the habit of doing things because we do have these rules for a reason, as you guys know. And and then all overnight, all small vehicles, MV1s and Voyagers, will be parked in the AVS box with the exception of 939, which shall remain next to van 5. And they should be locked with the keys back in the dispatching area. Um, and then the transits must be parked inside, next to the school bus in the AVS bay. And as for the PM dispatcher, before you leave at 6 p.m., just do a scan to make sure that all the vehicles that should be fueled and parked are properly done. That can include going up and like double checking that you have the keys for all the small vehicles that are parked and checking the handle to make sure that they're locked. It's easier to tell with the big vans because you just don't see them in the yard. They're probably in the garage, but we have had instances where the vans were left unlocked overnight, and it's we need to really tighten up our system of making sure that you guys are checking, the Eve drivers checking. It shouldn't be happening. I know it's a new system, and we are kind of. And last semester there was a lot of kind of getting familiar with it because it's very different than what we're all used to. But we're gonna smooth that out. We're gonna have it's gonna be great this semester. Very on top of parking. I know we will be. Yeah.
Okay, hi. All right, so snow protocol. Um, so mentioned a little bit in the previous meeting, but we do have a bit of a funky snow procedure going on. So all vehicles that are parked outside in the event of a snowstorm will be moved across the street to be under the solar panels near the old parking services trailer. Generally, this will be coordinated by staff. Last time it happened, service managers were pretty involved with it. If it's necessary, I'll also be here. So you guys don't really need to worry about determining when this will be happening. You'll be told. But when it does, you and any drivers present will be responsible for helping us out. We'll direct where things need to go. Um, if you are the AM dispatcher, say the morning after a snowstorm at night, you're first going to want to assign the transits first. They'll be inside. They should be good to go and ready. So once they get assigned, um, you'll want to work with the driver you have. If the UD is present, they can help. Again, I'll also be around to help if something like this happens. Essentially, we'd go back and forth and ferry all of the vehicles back over. Um, we wouldn't be doing that until after the yard has been cleared. Usually, maintenance and service go out and start plowing and salting the yard. Don't want to bring any vans back over to the box or onto the curbs until it's clear. We don't want to be in the way of anything. But once it is clear, they can be brought over. If it's not clear, well into your shift, if you're the AM, just bring over the vans as you need them. So, for example, just like 15 minutes before, say, a next driver comes in, you can do that, or maybe move their rides off of the first few slots of their schedule and work with the driver themselves to bring the van back over. Whatever works, whatever keeps us on schedule. Um, in the event that there is still a snow, just park in areas that have already been cleared. Usually by the time, you know, you as the dispatchers get in for AVS and the drivers, there's already going to be clear patches in the yard. So should still be places to put the vehicles. Um, and then regarding snow days, if the university closes, only the first unit of each shift remains. So the AM one, mid one, PM one, and eve. All the other shifts are canceled, but the drivers are still allowed to come in for those hours if they would like. They would just be helping service with snow clearing, essentially, either clearing out bus stops or around the yard, that sort of thing. Um, regarding like a 2 hour delay or any sort of delay with like that with the university, only rule policy is that we just cancel all rides before the campus opens. Anyone who needs things before then can get the rides, but no shifts are canceled. If the university closes early, then just all rides afterward get canceled, but the shifts stay. And then I guess in the case of a snow day, all rides are canceled for the day until people schedule them. Passengers are encouraged to not do so unless they really need to, but they still do have that option. But yeah, that's should be everything with snow protocol that you guys need to know for now.
Awesome. And then lastly, dispatch school is happening this weekend, which means you guys may see a dispatch observee assigned to your shift. If you do have an observee, they will act as the dispatcher, and you are there to observe, as you all know, because you did it during your training. But just as a reminder, you will be there to observe, answer questions, and explain things as needed. There's a lot of progress between someone's first and last dispatch observation, so just check in with them at the beginning of your shift, see what areas they feel confident in, see where they're concerned about, so that you can help accordingly get them the practice they need in whatever certain departments. They should be doing the whole job of dispatcher. You're just there for support, and obviously for the first observation, they may need more help than the last one. But we also do this time is really valuable for the training and getting them familiar with like the off log and other random things that only come up from time to time. So um, you can work with them and see what they know and what they don't know, just to make sure all the bases get covered during their observations. And please remember to fill out a dispatch observation form for your observee. They're in the binder um, with the like driver observations and the big one in the drawer with the blank defect sheets. Make sure you fill that out and let us know if you have any concerns or things you think, just whatever your thoughts are. We will review them and get them more training if needed, or be excited that they're on their way, whatever it is. And on the same note, we are hiring, as Zach mentioned, so you will see some observation shifts. Remember, as the dispatcher, to if you see an observation shift, also grab a sheet for whoever the driver is, so that they can fill that out too. Hopefully, between the driver and you, it will be remembered. But that's just a last reminder. Does anyone have questions about dispatch observations as dispatchers, or
I
just
guess I
any?
should also
Yeah.
uh, point out with the Voyagers, I know we have that roster for making sure that, everyone gets to a little training on the van before being assigned it. You won't have to worry about that for like trainees and stuff because ideally they will be getting some training during their actual training sessions regarding the Voyagers, so they will be good to go with those right off the bat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I've got. So unless you have any questions, you guys are all free to go.